You have a visual on bottom, huh?
Yeah, I think I can make it out. Slope looks good.
Got you a little far out in front of me, but that's okay.
Yeah.
More fish.
We are approaching our depth of 870 meters, and we are beginning our dive after
ROVs are
the pilots have gotten settled and all the nav and everyone is ready to go. But our dive track today will be to head toward a very large feature that we are calling Richardson Ridge.
Yep.
And we will,
do you want to do like any
if we see any rocks at the base, we'll collect a rock sample. Otherwise, we will just sort of motor up to the top of this ridge. We have a limited dive time today. We're already seeing our cutthroat eel friends.
All right, watch leads. As you can see, we're on the bottom. Just give us a couple moments, and we're going to set the vehicles up, and we'll be ready to start.
And the cutthroat eels are also an eel that likes the Lophelia habitat. And
yeah, that is a good sign, isn't it? But our plan is to rise up to the top of this ridge. It's about 110 meters in relief. We're expecting to see slopes ranging from, of course, low slope to 20 degrees to 40 degrees to maybe even vertical in places. So that'll be exciting. We're hoping to see if there are any rocks outcropping which provide the suitable substrate for these organisms. But right now we're on the seabed
on bottom?
at the base of the ridge.
I'd like to set
And the final part of the dive will be to traverse
northeast,
a knife-edged summit of the ridge that is only maybe 20 meters in width, so that'll be exciting. Yeah, lots of coral rubble. This is very similar to the mounds that were under the Gulf Stream, except that these are more covered up by the sediments.
Bridge, like
you can note it up there.
Maybe they're starting to be buried.
Yep. Actually, if you look at HiPAC, let me zoom out for you. Bailout is anywhere kind of between north and east.
Didn't expect to see this coral rubble here. I thought that we might see some slabs of rock, maybe, or.
Yeah, boy, wouldn't that be surprising if this whole ridge is actually a modified coral mound.
All right, I think I'm
so
happy.
bouncy.
Or if maybe the top edge, that knife edge, is a lot of high coral stand, and then some of it gets knocked over.
Knocked off and
all right, wash leads.
Cascades down the sidewall.
We are ready to begin the dive. Vehicles are set up properly.
So there may just be enough
so we're just going to
rocky
start to make our way
ledges to support
upslope.
coral.
If you see anything you'd like, just let us know. We'll get
on the way up.
On it.
John Reed called in earlier and said that Charlie Paul, one of the geologists who studied this region in some detail, not this specific location. That's very that was sort of a mound-like feature right there, wasn't it? But I was mentioning Charlie Paul had studied the rubble here and had age-dated some of these as 40,000 years old. And so these are very potentially ancient landscapes that have not been buried. You see they're partially buried here. And so when you think of that kind of time frame, there's a very good likelihood that the Gulf Stream was in a different location through time. That we know in the longer term that the Gulf Stream has changed its course many times. So perhaps these were abundant at a different time. There's a
first fish.
Is that a Limanima? perhaps? Or
looks like it looks more pale than what we were seeing yesterday.
I haven't seen this one
but it does
before.
look like it. The fins look more clear, and the ones we were seeing yesterday had definite black marks on the fins.
Maybe looks a little stout, or maybe it's a juvenile.
Yeah, looks young. Maybe I guess we'll get an idea of the size in a bit, but this is really good to get this zoom. Be important for identifying the fish.
I feel like the
we have a little hermit crab to the upper right there.
I had to give you a good.
And I wonder what made this little burrow in the.
Yeah, maybe he did. You get a sense of that coral rubble right in front. All the structure is dead coral stalks, and that brown coloration is not how it looks when it's alive. Hopefully we'll get a nice contrast to see that.
Yeah,
but after these organisms die and they lose their, I guess they have a protective coating. They must have some sort of,
yeah.
It's quite some tunnel behind that fish.
But anyway, whatever they lose when they die, they sit. The coral rubble sits in the flow of the water for a very long time,
probably won't come
and
out.
Ions of iron and probably manganese in the water precipitate out of the water and stain these pieces. So the darker the stain, likely the longer it's been exposed to the seawater.
Co-pilot, have your
and our first good view of a cutthroat eel, Synaphobranchid.
215.
This is actually a really good view. Usually they don't stand still enough. Oh, maybe he's telling us to go away.
Or he's laughing at us. I'm not sure.
Looks like he has something under his eye. Or maybe that's just the reflection of the lights. Oops. He can't see. We're blinding him.
Oh, I think he got stung by a sponge spicule, or stuck by one, just like we do. So you'll see the two laser beams periodically. There they are coming into the view now, and those are 10 centimeters apart. And we measure whatever we're looking at first, and then we'll eventually turn it off to get some good video without them.
That is a quite impressive burrow that the Lamanima
I can fly with them. I like flying with them.
Fish that we are first looking at is sitting in.
The video. I can swap mine off at your will.
You can do it. I leave your judgment. I trust your judgment, so you have full permission to handle lasers. Just lasers, though.
So our plan today, since we have a shorter amount of dive time, is to try to get to the top of this feature relatively quickly. So we're not going to
I would say let's try to
spend too much time doing many zooms and that kind of thing in hopes of making it to the top of the feature and being able to look around before our time is up on the bottom.
I'll stay at the center with you.
We do have a bit of extended dive time today as far as our leaving the bottom time. We have an extra 2 hours, so instead of 4 o'clock Eastern time, we'll be picking off the bottom, leaving the bottom at 6 o'clock, given that the conditions stay good enough that we can dive that long. If they get any worse, though, we might have to make a quick escape. So we're going to just be keeping an eye on the conditions as we proceed through this dive today.
At 215 degrees, 0.2.
And happy summer solstice.
Yes.
Longest day of the year, allowing us to stay here because there's so much sunlight at the bottom.
Right. It makes all the difference to these guys.
That's a good copy. Thank you, Bridge.
Now, of course, at 870 meters, there is no light when we turn off our lights.
Yep, 871 meters we are at now at the Richardson Ridge. That's what we're calling this site.
Move was 20-20.
Copy.
Copy. 20 meters.
And we've been
Thank you, Bridge.
Moving eastward all day today to try to find a place where the conditions would cooperate well enough for us to even put the ROV in the water. The wind has come up, the waves have come up, and the Gulf Stream was right where we wanted to dive, so we had to move east. But this is quite an interesting feature that we were able to find, and really good multi-beam mapping over the site. So happy to see what this has in store for us.
And speaking of multi-beam, happy Hydrography Day.
Oh, that's right.
Yes.
That thing.
Hydrography is the term we use for mapping and charting of navigable waters, but we often use it to describe any kind of seafloor mapping.
Something coming up in Sirius's sonar, a little harder to return, not quite on yours.
Copy.
It's probably this.
Bring your sonar into 30.
So we're still seeing coral rubble, but
and you can bring mine into
if I'm not mistaken, this is smaller fragments than what we were seeing mostly yesterday.
This looks pretty old.
See a white
Doesn't look like a lot of
the top left of
new
Sirius
pieces of coral have
line.
settled here. Otherwise, they'd be more on top of this
Are you talking about this guy right
sediment infilled layer.
Where you're pointing now.
Yeah.
This is the kind of substrate I think that was preserved in the rock that we.
It's different from the
found southern
a lot of eels.
Stetson Mesa.
Looks longer.
And it was clearly well buried within the mound and just sticking out of the edge.
Well, maybe we'll find another rock today.
Okay, giving you a little bit more tether.
Copy.
I'm just gonna fly a little higher than normal for the beginning while I get used to this.
Yep. Video, you want to come in something different here? Just a different color. I don't know if it's anything of importance.
I don't know if it's a sponge, I think.
Is that a sponge impersonating
an
an
and a little Galatheid squat lobster right below the sponge. And it looks like a little tiny piece of a stylosterid hydrocoral, the white coral that you see below the gray sponge.
Video's clear.
All right, good. Come wide.
Looks like that ship moves is coming to a stop.
Micro star, diagonal up to left.
20.
Diagonal left, micro star.
I'm okay with it. Yeah, I'm moving, so that's good.
Now left edge of the
Pilot,
screen.
this is watch lead.
Yeah, watch it. Go ahead.
We'd like to kind of motor up toward the ridge and get to the top as soon as we can because of our
copy
delayed
that.
time.
Watch lead.
Okay,
we already
great.
have 2 ship moves in, so that's exactly what we're doing.
Thank you.
And it looks like we have a little sea star here.
But yeah, I think you're
about the size of a laser beam.
I was going to say that is a tiny sea star when we take a step back and look at the 10 centimeters between the lasers. That is the size of one of the laser dots, so that's tiny.
Can we get another sharp look at that?
Yeah, give me a sec, video.
Yeah, this is very different from what we saw yesterday and the day before.
Watch leads nav.
Video, come wide a sec. Let me just...
Go ahead, Nav.
We have 3 hours and 25 minutes remaining on bottom.
Thanks very much, Nav. We just had a report that we have 3 hours and 25 minutes of bottom time.
Video, go for it. Let's do it quick.
Thank you, Bridge. Can we please repeat the move?
Wrong one. There we go.
Looks like a little gastropod shell there.
That's a good copy. Thank you, Bridge.
Right, coming into the screen now.
Video. I had auto head in. That explains a lot. All right.
Definitely done that before.
Look at how steady that shot is.
Just in time for the dust.
Okay.
All right. Good. Come wide.
Dust lost the shot.
Copy that.
So first move complete. Second one is underway. Total 40 meters. Both combined.
Copy that. 4-0 total.
You are about 40 40 meters from contours squishing together.
Copy.
Purple object just went off screen right.
So we're expecting that this will become even
blob
steeper
right
as we
there.
get to the top of this
off right,
ridge feature.
Just right now near the edge.
Oh, that guy right there.
Continuing to see a few cutthroat eels in the distance and a lot of coral rubble.
Right there.
There. To the
And
right
maybe a skate.
Video, go for zoom.
And you gotta...
Yes.
Kill
Lasers clear.
Lasers, yeah.
And that looks like the one we saw yesterday, although I'm no fish person.
Yeah, it does.
But it's
quite tiny, just a little bit longer than 10 centimeters.
Tilt down and give you more zoom.
Nicknamed a Pluto skate, a common name.
A really nice shot of him.
If we can go up to his eye.
Go for eye, copy.
And then once we get a little bit of this, if you could just pan straight down the center of his back and his tail.
Said that this was
let me know.
Fenestraja plutonia. If it's the same species, it looks very similar to what we saw yesterday. And in the same type of environment, we saw them at the Charleston Bump area in 2003. And they were sort of known to be found often on these iron-stained sand bottoms. It's good camouflage for it. That's great, pilot. Thanks.
And hold that. And we're clear.
Great. Go ahead, come wide.
And Tina's reminding us that Ken Sulak pointed out yesterday that the rounded fins on the back of the animal, not the tail, suggest that this is a female.
And the males have hind lobes modified into club-like claspers.
The Latinus thing at the bottom.
So glad you pointed that out.
Oh, a jelly.
Nice. Jelly. That is cool.
That's a beauty.
That is pretty.
Wow. So it's a highlight shot.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
At that pace.
You want to try with those extra lights?
It's up to you, pilot.
Yeah, go for it.
Keep it in this position.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Rising.
You can even see the particulates in the water. Marine snow. Oh, it looks like it's catching a lot of those.
I was going to say, it looks like it's hard to tell if they're on the outside or inside.
Okay,
yeah.
His lights are clear.
Ready for lights to come out?
Yeah, you can kill him.
Okay.
Thanks for that, pilot.
All right, pilot. Let's
Lasers
get you moving out ahead.
Yeah.
Currently have you at 45.
45, copy that. We can get another move in then.
All right,
If
looks like there's a 20 meters out from Sirius. We're seeing something in sonar.
Is it this?
Straight ahead.
This.
Yeah, the chunk to the left there.
Oh, that might be fake. I feel like I've seen
no,
it
it's
before.
been there for a while. And it's too big to be a reflection.
So
So if you lateral to port,
Tilt up, I can show you further out.
So it should be dead ahead then, right?
Yeah.
I am ready for our move.
Yep, I was just going to say, let's do another 20. Bridge, ROV nav.
You're coming quick to the end.
Same move, please.
Real quick. Yeah, I would just explore there if you can.
Good copy.
You're just going to keep pulling that tether over.
So I'm seeing
I'm
tether.
wondering if the cutthroat eels are the inhabitants of those holes. There's not much else to live within or under in this area.
Thank you,
Bridge. We
Bridge.
haven't seen much else so far.
Arm is also drooping. I don't know if it makes any difference to you, though.
Yeah, they're fine. Oh, craft?
Yes, I'm sorry, the craft.
That's right.
So I see your tether and you on sonar. Should be right in front of you, whatever this hard target is.
As you can see, there's some considerable slope here, so this might really just be a talus slope.
Yeah, I think you're right.
We would see on landscapes where the crumbling debris has
D2's outline right where it was.
Cascaded down the slopes above and then piled up at the base.
Some stuff near the left edge.
Would not be very conducive for coral if that's the case. For living coral.
Strange.
Do you want to snap it from here, video?
Yep.
It's interesting. We can get closer.
See a larger block of coral skeleton.
I think that's giving you the radar
coral skeletons
sonar return.
On the right.
Oh yeah.
I think so.
I've been trying to
turn for
ascertain the species of corals that this rubble is made out of, and to me it looks like more of Lophelia compared to the Anelopsamia that we saw yesterday due to the larger calyces.
It's like a piece of sargassum maybe? Is that what that green is?
Looks a little more green instead of brown though.
Snap greenish brown real quick. Yeah.
Oh, that looks like sargassum. Yep.
Which should normally be floating at the surface.
Yeah, so that's a seaweed, a brown algae that we see all over the surface here in the waters that we've been in. And after it ages and it loses its floats, it winds up sinking to the bottom. And in a food poor area, a nice bunch of salad that falls from the sea surface should make a good meal.
No, just the mini spikes from the swells.
Nothing too bad.
Or it may act as substrate, although that's not an issue here.
Straight below there's a crab with
substrate.
If somebody wants to live here, they'll find something to attach to for sure.
That's right.
Just went off screen.
We saw several individual clusters of the sargassum on the muddy seafloor off the Blake Ridge.
I wonder if this is a stock tunicate.
Good eye.
A lonely stalked tunicate.
Oops, and it's going away.
Oh, no.
It's hiding from us.
Oh, that's great.
Seems unlike a tunicate to be able to do that.
I guess.
Right? I don't know. It sure did look like it when it was...
No, I agree, but...
Yeah, it
this
would
behavior
seem unusual.
Like, they're not really light sensitive generally.
We made quite a current.
Yeah.
So it might be the vibration in the current that scared it.
Ready. I think we can...
Don't know that.
All right. Did you say crab too, video?
Yeah, straight back.
Straight back, and we'll keep pushing.
It was one of those fiddlers with an enemy on its back.
Copy that. We'll try to get one next time.
Is that a coral straight ahead? Center?
You grab lasers.
That's a great idea. Thanks for the reminder.
We'd like our front row to introduce themselves. We could not be doing this without them.
Hi everyone, sitting in the front row today, sitting pilot is Sean Kennison, and I will let everyone else introduce themselves, starting to my left.
ROV Navigator, Bobby Moore.
Co-pilot, Andy Lister.
On the far right, Roland Bryan. And in the back, you've got Art Howard at video clipping.
And we are all engineers and videographers from the Global Foundation for Ocean Exploration.
Do you want the forward lights on for this?
Hi, I'm Leslie Sauter. I'm from the College of Charleston Geology Department, and I'm the Geology Science Lead.
Okay.
And I'm Cheryl Morrison from the U.S. Geological Survey, and I'm the Biology Science Lead.
And I'm Stephanie Bush from the Smithsonian Institution National Museum of Natural History, and I'm the Sample Data Manager on board.
And we have a beautiful crinoid in our view now.
You have a fish directly on top of you.
That's looking like another 20 complete on the bridge.
Copy that.
You guys ready for another?
I'm ready.
Yeah, I can push right after this, so we're good. This is easy terrain to
Crinoids
navigate.
Common name is feather star, and they're echinoderms, such as urchins and sea stars, like the tiny little sea star we saw earlier.
And you can see the appendages at the base that are used to hold on to this substrate, which is composed of coral rubble. We're not sure where it came from, but we think maybe it has fallen down the slope that we are about to rise. Well, we're rising it, but we're expecting to see steeper slope ahead.
Until we get off.
Oh, and a little hermit crab on the bottom left.
It's amazing how they find the gastropod shells.
Yeah.
We never see the living gastropods, but we see hermits with them all the time.
Lights are clear.
With the shells. Wow.
And Tina pointed out that she saw some white tubes that were behind the feather star, and those are serpulid worms.
We often find those serpulid worms underneath the rocks that we collect in these parts.
That's
Probably
right.
all over the globe. I've just only been in these parts before.
Ooh.
There's
somebody.
Fish.
Big shrimp.
Some type.
Is that a shrimp?
Shrimp.
Yeah.
Big shrimp.
Wow.
Oh, it's a shrimp.
Wow, I thought it was a fish too.
Sorry, Charlie, Nev.
Another one on the
Yeah,
other.
it looks like you're coming to the end of that
big
move.
guy.
Two of them. Maybe they're going to battle it out.
I think we saw a similar shrimp.
Our videographer zoom.
Are big.
Strange. I haven't heard
Yeah,
of
This
that.
is a very large shrimp.
The fact that we all thought it was a fish at first, and then we're like, no. Shrimp.
Wow, it even has fins.
Yeah. I guess I
Modified
missed them.
swimming
No, I
pleopods.
missed
Lasers clear.
Yep, appreciate it.
That's really cool.
Let's put in another of the same, please.
Pleopods, you said?
Good copy.
Yeah, those
Thank you.
are the little appendages underneath the abdomen.
It's 10 inches long.
In a lot of shrimps, they'll brood
10
the eggs.
centimeters.
They'll hold them there.
No, it's longer than 10 centimeters.
Inches.
Yeah.
That's quite a nice
That would
shrimp.
make a meal. Somewhere between a shrimp and a lobster.
I think they need to be much more abundant before
Yeah, I
we
don't
make
think they'll
many
be
meals
fish.
out of them. Gorgeous, though.
Isn't that color beautiful?
Yeah, why do you think it's such a deep red color?
Well,
Thank you, Bridge.
red is one of the colors that appears black at
Lead
this
a little
depth.
bit more to the left.
And it's also
Get it
apparently
to the
a
left,
very
copy.
You can see
easy
its
color
organs.
to make energetically compared to other
Rare
colors.
that we get this great a
At
view.
least that's what I've
Surprised it didn't fly
heard.
off.
Yeah,
Any other
so
reasons that you've heard?
no, that's the main reason. So as the sunlight filters down through the water column, the first
And I'll push up
color
to
that
you.
gets filtered out are the reds. So
Okay,
without
scroll
the
down
ROV
body.
light shining
So
on
you'll
the
have to
shrimp,
move shortly,
there's no
but not
red
yet.
light down here
Copy
at
that.
856 meters where we're at. So this shrimp would appear black.
Wow, look at that. The pleopods are like little feathers.
And his rostrum was quite, is that what
yeah.
the spine is called? Looked quite lethal. Isn't that beautiful?
One more full
I
screen.
wonder if that means, so the rostrum having that spike on it reminds me of a midwater mysid that's this same color, called Nathophausia. So I don't know, this is definitely not a Nathophausia, but
do you want lasers again?
Maybe it's
within
the Lophogastrida mysid group of decapods.
I have a feeling this is a Pliosomata.
Oh, you know this one? Okay.
Right? Well, it would be more of a shrimp.
Okay.
So, but I think that a long spine like that would make it more difficult to eat if somebody were trying to eat it. So I have a feeling there's probably convergence on spiny, spiky things to make them larger and less palatable.
Yeah, and the midwater ones I was mentioning, the smaller ones have a larger spike relative to body size, and as they get bigger,
just the body
spike shrinks
relatively.
Hey. Another jelly Medusa. Nice.
Oh, that guy.
All right, video. I need to push, so please come wide.
You are full wide.
Awesome.
So he was about 20 centimeters long.
Wow.
So that's quite large.
Shrimp.
And he had a buddy behind him, too. Another cutthroat eel or two.
Give us a little bit more tilt up.
I'd say they're the most dominant thing that we've seen so
different
far.
Fish.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, and here's another fish.
Limonema, perhaps, or whatever we saw earlier. It may or may not be the same species we saw yesterday.
Back to 45.
All right.
Oh no, this is.
It's one of the anglers.
There's something out in front of
a
you.
little baby one.
Just a little ways. I don't know how big it is. It's probably nothing to worry about.
Do you see it on screen, or is it?
It's on screen back over there.
That's a type of angler.
Just a trick of the shadows.
Really? Oh, okay.
And it has its modified fins for walking, perhaps. Do you think that's?
Yeah, these are. I think this is more of the goosefish type, and I think it was Ken Sulak that was telling us that the actual lure on these guys, or maybe it wasn't this particular one, but if this is similar to the chalnecks that we saw as far as the lure, it was more of a chemical attractant compared to a
that guy that's right up there.
physical lure that can be
tilt up,
put out in front of their face. Was that a chaseon?
Ooh, this is good sign ahead.
Yeah, looks like our first chaseon, maybe. That we went
over. Can we take a quick zoom at the crab, or is it too late?
It might be too late. It's okay.
You sure?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
We want to make progress, so.
Do you want to zoom on the discolored part?
Sure.
Okay, you're slightly off screen, but looks like you're okay.
So this is either a new pile that recently fell from somewhere above, or maybe it's a...
Might have been from burrowing.
I have a little more screen, but I can turn to keep in view. Like.
I can bring up that fresh sediment underneath this rubble.
Video, go for zoom.
Definitely looks like there's some
dark spot
younger material. Certainly still dead, but you can see the different shades of the brown indicating how long it's been exposed to the seawater. May have just been buried rapidly too, which takes it out of the flow of the water. And now it's been unearthed, possibly from burrowing.
So if you take the ROV and
do by the lasers.
And I doubt we'll know.
It's the top of the leftmost.
We'll keep going.
So
it's nothing.
It's an entrance. This is where all the sediment's coming from. Now it's right
that place right there. Okay.
Oh, there's a burrow right there. So I guess we do know.
Yeah.
Ooh, it's being kicked out.
There's one to the right. Well, they're all over this area. It's steep enough for them to burrow and even have a deck. Front porch. Oh, I see something.
I don't know if that's a coral fragment or...
Yeah, it looks more like... I thought it was an arm.
to stay on track, getting uphill.
Copy that.
Copy that. We gotta get going.
All right, video. Whenever you're good.
Running lights out.
Well, it might remain a mystery.
Follow me back to 215.
But there's a few more burrios up ahead. Maybe we'll catch somebody home. Oh, our first octocoral on a larger piece of dead skeleton of a stony coral.
All right, video, you want to comment on this?
Know if that's the plumarella that we were seeing yesterday and the day before.
Going for another move. Bridge, ROV Nav. Repeat the move, please.
Yeah, I think this is the first live coral that we've seen today.
Slightly right.
Slightly right.
Scott France also thinks this is plumarella.
Going for full screen.
Copy, move initiated.
And it looks like there's a little hermit crab hanging on to.
And maybe one at the base too. Not the base, but on the lower fronds.
Oh yeah.
There's 3 of them.
Yeah, copy.
Slight tilt down.
Scott, were you there?
Get the one at the bottom.
Yeah, I was just sorry, I
brown.
didn't mean to talk over you. I was noting that on the left side of the skeleton, there's been several polyps that have been scraped off. It suggests something was abrading it or feeding on it. No, maybe it was these hermit crabs.
Yeah, it's got more hermit crabs than I remember seeing on any of these.
And no brittle stars like we're accustomed to seeing.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if this Candidella, or excuse me, Primnoa.
Happy video.
Clear.
Great.
Plumarella commonly has ophiuroids on it.
And then, are you lined back up?
Close to it. It's still having trouble fighting. Turn. I'm at 220, but yeah, 215 is where we want to
Well, that was an interesting find.
Copy. I'll send a little more.
Our first coral of the day.
Great.
Hopefully there are many more to come.
And maybe that's why the hermit crabs are there. It's the only thing standing up in this area.
Yeah. Oh, here's some more.
Starting to increase our slope as well.
Yeah, watch these. If you have any,
this might be one of those sort of consolidated areas.
If you have any specific zooms you want, just call them out. Or else I'm just gonna kind of slowly pass over them.
Shelf-like
substrate. If we could zoom on this white coral and then the pink one after that. Thanks.
Yep.
And it looks like we found our first live scleractinian coral maybe, and a different octocoral.
And a pancake urchin at the top of the screen.
I'm hoping this is our first bamboo coral.
All right.
It might be.
Lasers. And video, you can start to go for zoom.
My guess is Lophelia, and that looks to be true. And it has a hydroid growing on one portion of it. You can see some, and you can see a polychaete worm in the lower right. Those are unicid polychaetes, if that is what this one is.
I'm slowly migrating around. Are they scavengers?
They actually will live on the coral, and the coral will grow around them and create a little home for them. And there's one hypothesis that they actually will reach out and grab other pieces of coral and pull it towards the coral that they're living in and help structure the coral reef framework.
It's a little hot. Probably you want to get lasers on real quick.
And Jill Bork from USGS agreed that that's a Unicida.
Squat lobster in the middle of it.
Copy that.
Looks like somebody's taking advantage of it by living on it.
Kill lasers?
Yeah, this pink one I'm pretty certain is going to be a bamboo coral.
Yay!
All right, video.
Oh, and it has an associate. a chirostylid of some sort.
Let's go to the center on the crab.
Copy that.
He's new to us.
Yeah, this is a new one. I don't think we've seen this one.
Look at that.
Thank you, Bridge.
Pinchers on the very ends of the very longest legs. Boy, he fits right into the color scheme.
This is a really nicely lit colony. I can see just to the lower right of that crab a cluster of needle-like sclerates at the base of one of those
Slight
polyps.
tilt down.
So I apologize to everyone who's marveling at the crab that I'm looking at the coral.
To each his own.
Slight tilt
and
down.
It's interesting how well the crab matches the coral. Some camouflage. Gosh, what a beautiful scene.
Holding. Can we kick on the extra lights?
Copilot initiate fog light protocol.
Fog lights enabled.
Yeah, so is this a Gastroptychus? That's what I was thinking, and Andrea Quattrini was asking the same. I think it's Europtychus that we saw on other octocorals so far this cruise. The chirostylid crab.
I don't qualify to remark on the genus of these crabs. I do believe it's in the family Chirostyllidae.
I'd like to get one more tight on the crab with the lights on.
I'm trying to identify whether this is a Keratoisis or a Jasonisis-like colony, and I'm going to stick with Keratoisis for now.
Okay, great. So would this be similar to the ones we were seeing yesterday, or the day before yesterday, or is it a different species maybe?
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe a different species. The structure of the overall colony is a little bit different.
Full screen on
also
lobster.
Looking just near one of the legs of that crab on the far right, there's one weird-looking polyp that's got a big thumb sticking off. And I wonder
City enough?
Video's
clear.
Copy that.
Huh.
We don't need to spend
again,
quite as much time.
All
right.
Plenty of time to look at everything.
It looks like we have two echinoderms here of
Copy
different
that.
species.
I can let watch leads know.
We take a quick zoom. I think we have to keep rising though.
Sorry, watch leads. We gotta move forward.
No problem.
You ready for lights to come off?
We need to zoom on, which hopefully we'll see more exciting things as we move up this steep slope.
Good look. I'm still seeing a good shimmer.
And it looks like the other urchin, there was the pancake urchin, Aerosoma, that we've been seeing fairly common out in the last few days anyway.
No, that's definitely
and then
temperature
maybe
shimmer.
Echinus or Gracilochinus is the other urchin.
Noticing the temperature change on the vehicles
yet? Sponges. Oh, and lots of Lophelia coming up.
23 and his is 13.
Look at that. More octocorals.
I'd say that's a 10-degree difference, pretty major.
But I think that a lot of that has to do with the electronics
on the right
package.
side there, we've passed over what may be a different bamboo coral like the one that we were seeing on the last couple of dives or 2 days ago. It was white instead of pink.
Wow, okay.
Now you see the shimmer
like
in the ROV.
Sponge.
Yeah.
Wow, this is some
I see a strong
very
shimmer,
steep
though.
vertical relief here.
It rose a little bit from the surface, and you can definitely
And lots
pick
of
it out better.
dead coral skeleton and tips of live
Let's pull up a
Lophelia
little bit.
pertusa.
Yeah, what's the CTD say?
Seeing another of the echinoderms on the right just going off the screen.
Temp probe went from 6 to 8.
We're not pausing as often as
right now. You're definitely hitting
we wish we had time for, but we want to get to the crest of this very steep ridge.
Several degrees.
But it's
far out there.
Great to see all these living coral. Just started to see them on our dive.
Yep. We do not.
We're ready for one.
Bridge on
And
now.
Andrea Quattrini commented that some of these cutthroat eels might be Synaphobranchus
All right, watch
coppii.
we do have a moment. If there's anything you want to zoom on.
Great.
Just wait for the ship.
Well, there's a nice. Yeah, let's zoom into that.
Copy that.
Huge coral mound, or is it coral growing
video.
on some underlying geology?
Do we know that, Leslie?
I don't see any underlying geology other than the solidified possible layers of the rubble, but it's hard to tell when it's so covered.
Sure. Okay.
Maybe when we get to the top, we'll be able to tell a little bit more about the geology. Venus flytrap anemone.
So it's up from what it was yesterday and the day before on Sirius. And
this is John Reed. I mean, that's always been the big question, what these Lophelia and even Oculina coral mounds were made of. And the few that we've been able to see partly inside, where a section of it is kind of slid away.
Video's clear.
Copy that.
We're pretty sure that they're primarily coral and coral rubble that's built up for eons, thousands of years. Decibels. And the only coral mound that I'm aware of, Lophelia mound, has been cored through the whole length of it. I believe was off Norway. And they found the entire mound. I believe it was 100 meters tall. The entire mound was coral and coral rubble, and the base of it, the base rock of the mound was at the very, very bottom, was about 1 million years old.
Wow.
Stunning, John. Thanks. It'd be really exciting to be able to core some of these mounds out.
That would be awesome.
Are those red ones like Anthomastus or
Pseudoanthomastus? Maybe we could zoom into one of the red corals for a quick zoom.
We were seeing a lot of Pseudoanthomastus in the last few days, but I think there was also Anthomastus.
You're about to go right over it.
All right, video, go for zoom.
Unfortunately, Tina is no longer with us. She was the one who was able to tell the difference between those really easily. But she said it was the size of the zooids, I think, that... Oh, and we have a tail of somebody who's lurking behind the coral.
And some brittle stars there, just to the lower left. You can see their arms.
If you could, just a quick view of the flat white coral up and above to the left.
Above to the left. Yeah, pilot, could we take a quick zoom to the coral to the above left of this?
Above left.
I think it's
that's a white one. It's out of view. It's top of the manip cams, I think.
Scott, you'll have to. Is it when we zoom away? Oh, there it is.
Oh, there it is. Yeah.
We see it.
I think it's the other bamboo coral. I just want to be certain.
The bright white is what you're looking at.
Bright white. Copy.
Yes, definitely a bamboo.
Yeah, it's definitely bamboo, and I think it's different from that pink one we were just looking at.
Kill lasers, clip out.
Thank you, Bridge.
Beautiful.
Fantastic, thank you. So that'll be good to compare to the pink one. And Leslie, I think this is the one that you were referring to that we had 2 dives ago that was fairly common. Keratoisis. So it looks like we have at least 2 different species of that here today.
And you can really see those protein rings, proteinaceous rings. And Scott, we had a piece of coral. It was a dead piece of bamboo coral that came up with the rock we collected a couple of days ago. And you could see how the proteinaceous rings had either been consumed or degraded, and with just a little pressure on them by accident, they broke. So those rings are not nearly as durable as the calcium carbonate.
Right, and you said that it was dead, so I would imagine that over time the protein's going to be degrading faster
Sure.
than the various internodes.
Do you get lights on, co-pilot? Or sorry, lasers.
Mike Ford made a comment about the jelly that we saw a little while back, and it's ropalinamatid. Thank you. Thank you very much.
You notice I didn't chime in.
Bridge, ROV now. Please repeat the move.
Yeah, Yeah, and the places I'm used to diving. So Mike Ford was saying that Rapala looked like maybe one in the genus Chrysota, maybe Chrysota alba, rather than a benthochodon. All I know about those groups are that we would see a lot of benthochodon, a lot of Chrysota, and a lot of Viragonema, and they were all red, and we just called them LRJs for little red jellies because we couldn't identify them without bringing them in and counting the tentacles. So
a bunch of white stuff at the top edge of the screen. Upper left.
I'm glad Mike can tell what they are. Because I don't know.
Did you often see those close to the bottom?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what he's saying, that this was interesting that this one was close to the bottom.
Yeah, no, those ones, I'm used to seeing them very close to the bottom.
Okay.
Get a quick zoom to the white ball on the right. See if that's a sponge or an echinoderm. We
copy that.
No ball.
Old enough. Well, maybe not.
Not quite.
I'm hoping it's an echinoderm.
Yeah, current's definitely picking up. It's hard to make upward way.
The pilots are reporting the current is picking up here.
All right, video, go for zoom. Let's make a little closer.
Yes.
Wow.
It's a snow urchin.
Sorry, video come partial.
And Echinus and Gracile Echinus are two of the urchin
and a pencil urchin's just to the left of it as well.
That are found in this area.
Just to the left and out of the screen.
Video come wide.
There's Sideris and Eusideris are two of the pencil urchin genera.
There's another crinoid on the right center.
And another octocoral.
Another beautiful octocoral. But we're going to keep motoring up. Current's starting to get a little challenging.
So one of the chat room folks yesterday commented that there's so much standing dead coral, and is that normal? And over a dozen years ago, when I first did some of my first Johnson Sea Link submersible dives out here, that was one thing that all of the scientists were debating: is what is normal? Does this reef look healthy, or is this is this an unusual state? And I guess the more dives that have been done, the more we see that this is usual, to just have a little bit of live coral and a fair amount of standing dead coral, at least in this region, this southeast region. And then as you get to the tops of these mounds, the percentage of live, in this case white coral, increases substantially. But I don't think that we saw much more than 50 or 70% live, even at the best spots or the most lively spots.
Seeing some more of the bamboo coral on the left and the right. And we can keep climbing. I think we saw some duva when you were talking. Did you see that?
Yeah, I think so. We've seen that the last 2 days, so it's actually been quite abundant. It seems to like growing on this dead coral framework. Some more sponges coming up. Really steep slope.
Move complete.
Should we take a quick zoom on the one in the upper right? Just to see.
The octocoral in the upper
a little
right.
Different.
Got you far out there.
Another one of the urchins.
I don't know what you have.
Is it coming center?
Yep.
I think I'll be tugging you.
Some nice crinoids on the bamboo that is.
Zoom from here.
I don't know if that's a bamboo. I think it is on the lower right as well.
Yeah, come wide video, sorry.
A couple of anthomastus behind it.
Lots of crinoids. Or No, those aren't crinoids.
Some of them are plumarella, and some of the duva.
Yeah, kill lasers go back.
Anemone, some of the Anthomastus. Is that a cup coral on the lower branch?
That
or
might be.
It looks thin at the base.
Yeah. Definitely a bamboo coral. Wow, that's a beautiful shot. Oh, it looks like Scott Harris found an ID for that large red shrimp that we were looking at before. A Plesiopenaeus armatus. Great, thanks, Scott.
Armatus, that's a great species name.
Armored.
All right, video, whenever you're happy, just let me know.
Hello.
Great.
Hi. Who do we have on the line?
All right, push it
Hey,
forward.
this is Vanessa Westbrook from the museum.
Oh, hi, Vanessa.
Hello.
Welcome.
Was I supposed to call you guys? I thought you guys were supposed to call me to set up for Saturday.
I'm not sure you're on the right line, actually. This is the Okeanos Explorer.
Okay, well, I was calling to speak with James Lawthorne, and he gave me this number, but I may need to use it later. He was supposed to call me because we're trying to set up the link for the workshop on Saturday, so this is the only number I had to call.
Okay, we'll have him send you a message with the right number to call.
Perfect. Thank you. I appreciate that. Sorry.
Sure, no problem.
Hey, this is James.
Bye-bye.
Are you still there?
James.
How you doing? I'm headed to a phone right now. I got caught up in another meeting and neglected to notice what time it was. My apologies for certain. Are you still there where I can call you?
I hate when that happens.
What was that?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. I said, call me on my cell number.
Okay, I'll give you a call. It'll take me about 5 minutes to find an available telephone, and I will call you right now.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. I appreciate your patience.
Sorry, Brian.
That was amazing. You're getting far out there again.
Copy.
Get back here.
What's do you have a feeling about your movement?
About mine?
My body or Sirius?
What do we?
Wow, that's quite a field.
What are we asking here? I'm not moving. I don't feel
like
it.
Forest,
think you're moving
almost.
at all?
I don't.
Beautiful.
I don't feel like it.
If the current's
I've
picked
had
up,
the
it might
ship
have.
go 140 meters.
Has layback increased at all?
I don't know.
The pilots are noticing an increase in the current.
And we also had
I just moved that last move.
A little over
really.
10 minutes ago.
Overall,
there was a step up in temperature from about
D2
5 degrees to 8 degrees, and then a huge drop in oxygen at the exact same time.
Layback's increasing. If you're definitely not moving.
So that was probably 830 meters, 820, 830. We can figure that out.
Same move, please.
Back calculating, but
that's the one.
They noticed a shimmer in the video when we went through the different layer. So that's really interesting. We went into some slightly warmer and less oxygenated water, and that was probably about the time that we started seeing a lot of corals.
That's interesting.
Copy, let me know.
So this is our friend, the pancake urchin. We've seen many specimens of this in similar habitats, but in very different location from here.
Copy.
The last 2 days of our dives, we were under the Gulf Stream. This area is also influenced by the Gulf Stream. It's the same water depth, and it is also enjoying this same habitat here. You can see some of the...
remarkable about seeing the urchin here